Hey everybody, Arthur of Gaming here, and I have to show you today Pacific Rails Inc. from the folks over at Iello. This is a medium weight board game. I would call it. It's a worker placement / engine builder, both literally and figuratively, and I'll tell you why in a second. So this is, as we can see here on the box up in the corner, it is for 2 to 4 players. It is for 12 plus. And it is this says about a 45-minute game. I played one game so far with it, and it took me longer than that, but we were learning the rules, and one of my friends is a little bit of a slow game player, so we played a little bit longer than that. So the idea of Pacific Rails is, let me show you the board. On the board here, you are starting on both sides of this continent, so to speak, and you are trying to make a connection from one side to the other. Doesn't matter if it's your connection, your friend's connection, as long as there's one connected piece of rail from one side to the other, that triggers the end game. In the process of that, you are also doing a lot of worker placement in the center, up here in this town, and that's how you do all of your actions. You're placing workers. The cool thing about it is not only are you placing workers, but you are removing workers. So you get to do the action of one of the places next to your worker. There'll always be 2. You get to do one of those places when you place there and when you take away from it. Another cool feature that I thought in Pacific Rails Inc. was if one of the spaces is surrounded and there's not a spot for you to put your worker down, you can put your worker on the space instead of next to it. It kicks everybody else away from the space and gives them a bonus, which is a cowboy hat. And the little cowboy hats let you get bonuses. So no space is ever blocked off to you. You can always take any space. Just if you do take a space that is surrounded, you will give your friends a bonus. When you place next to a space, the more workers you have adjacent to that space, the more actions you get to take. So you get to, if you're collecting wood, you would collect 1 wood, let's say for having 1 worker next to it. With 2 workers next to it, when 1 worker's next to it, you place your second worker next to it, you can collect 2 wood. So it's a little bit of strategy there on when you place guys, where you place them. When you pick them up is the same thing. So if you have 2 guys next to a wood space, you pick one of the guys up, you get 1 wood for the guy you picked up and 1 wood for the other guy next to it. So it's an interesting kind of worker placement mechanic, which was cool. I really liked it. As part of this, now you're also building an engine. And what I meant figuratively and literally is you're building a train engine. So you have a train. You start with a train. Spaces for your resources and train tracks go up here at the top. This here is how much you're going to have houses that are going to cover these. And when you go to get wood, for instance, if the +1 is showing, you'll get +1 wood when you collect wood. And you have that for all 4 resources: the wood, the explosives, the iron, and the gold. And then there's a spot over here for your cowboy hats, which you can spend your cowboy hats. So like I said, when you put a worker on the mat, if you have another worker adjacent to it, you get to, for the wood, for instance, you collect 1 wood for placing a worker and 1 wood for putting the other worker down. You could also spend a cowboy hat to get another wood. So it's like having another worker there. No person can have more than 2 cowboy hats at a time. In addition to that, as you place towns on the map, as you're going across the country, you get more cars that you get to add to your train. More cars give you more slots to hold resources and tracks. And in addition to that, it gives you these spaces for your specialists. So your specialists do things like one of your specialists lets you spend money to influence Washington. So influencing Washington is on the main game board. It gives you things like, you can get rails for free, lots of little track pieces. There's 4 colors. My one complaint about this, as far as colors and stuff go, the 4 colors are red, green, yellow, blue. Nice basic colors. Problem with that is one person that I play with on a regular basis, he's colorblind. So having red and green as 2 of your options was really bad for him. He had a hard time telling which color was which. So this could have been a little more red-green colorblind friendly, which would have been nice. Back to what I was saying. So when you start making your train and you start getting this thing, so when you drop on a specialist square, so there are squares in town, this top part here. So when you look at the map, there are 4 places to collect resources in the corners, and there are 4 places to use your specialists. When you use the specialist, it fires off all the specialists you have in your train. So you have your train set up, and you have like one car, let's just say, and you have specialists in here and here. When you fire that off, you get to fire off whatever specialist you put your guy on. You get one action from that specialist. He's considered like the conductor and the foreman of the train. And then all your other specialists in the train, you get to fire them off too. And again, if you have more than one of them, you get more than one action with them. If they're in a car that's not the first car, so there's car number 1, 2, and 3. A specialist in car number 2, for instance, you get to use his action twice because he's in car number 2. If he was in car number 3, you get to use his action three times. So there's a good little engine builder there of how you set up your train and where you put your specialists. So when you fire off a specialist, you can do all these things. In addition, train cars get upgrades in the middle that you can buy, which give you like wood or gold or explosives or iron when you fire off that train car, and that goes off first. So having things like money in there is kind of good because then you get the money ahead of time. Or if you have a train car that has the guy that makes bridges, which takes wood, and you have a wood upgrade in the middle, then boom, you can get a wood before you even fire that train car off. So you can see how like an engine build really influences this game. So like I said, overall, pretty good medium weight game. Nice worker placement if you like worker placement. Good engine building if you like engine building. And you get to mix them both together with some engine building worker placement. So I thought that was really, really good. So this is Pacific Rails Inc. It is from Iello. Go check those guys out. Links will be in the bottom. Like I said, it is for 2 to 4 players, 12 and older. Technically, you could play with a younger kid, I'm sure, if they're smart kids. And they say it's about 45 minutes for the game. Like I said, I played a 4-player game. Took a little bit longer, but it played really, really well. So yeah, so go check them out. Iello, Pacific Rails Inc. As always, guys, I am the Arthur of Gaming. Like, subscribe this video. Check me out on Instagram at the Arthur of Gaming, and all that good jazz. And as always, folks, it's a crazy, crazy world out there. Please be safe.